Hi, I'm Christine, and I'm here to answer questions that you've brought up with me. And today's question is, what is a voice coach? So this is a really relevant question, and I'm really glad that somebody asked it. Because often when I introduce myself as a voice coach, people assume that I'm a singing coach. And while I know a lot of voice coaches who work with the singing voice, that is actually not my gig. I work with the spoken voice, but I'm different than a speech pathologist. So I'm not somebody you would work with if you have a vocal injury or an ongoing vocal pathology of some kind. I work with healthy voices, and I help people who have healthy voices make them even more vibrant and connected, expressive, authentic, clear, and effective in any size space. So often a follow-up question that comes up from that is, why would I need voice coaching? And that's a fair question, because since we don't really remember the process of learning how to talk, it's something that we've always taken for granted. And for that reason, we don't really see it as a skill, even though I have to tell you, as being the mother of a 1-year-old, I'm really getting to relive the skill that is involved in the act of speaking. So that's for another video. But let's go back to this question of, well, who is voice coaching for? Why seek out voice coaching? The thing is, your voice is a reflection of who you are. It is literally at the intersection of your body, your mind, and your spirit. It is your tool for verbally expressing your thoughts, your feelings, and your current experience. So it's an incredibly important part of you. It's an important part of your identity, an important part of your history, and it is a tool that you can learn how to use and play like an instrument so that you're communicating exactly the way that you want to be communicating. And not only that, but so that the voicing process feels effortless and enjoyable. So the type of people I would work with are people who feel like maybe their voices are a bit tight, that they get a bit strained, that they get a bit tired after a day of talking, which, by the way, doesn't have to be the case. A lot of us assume that if we talk a long time, we're definitely going to be tired, and that does not necessarily have to be true. People who feel like they mumble or their speech often gets garbled. People who feel like their voices don't really seem to align with their identities or their personalities. People who want to connect more to their audiences through their voices or feel like they struggle with sounding too quiet or too loud. Or people who are just genuinely curious about how they can play their instrument of their voice in a way that feels good and pleasant to them, or how they can grow in that process. Since the voice is a reflection of the self, I tend to work with a lot of people who find that they get really nervous or anxious around either performing or speaking publicly, because they find that that can really get in the way of the communication act and the voicing part of the communication act in particular. And because that's true, I, as a voice coach, and I know a lot of other voice coaches who would sign up for this and agree with this, I don't only look at your voice when I work with you. I would look at, are you using your body language in a way that's helping you stay grounded and present in the act of communication? That's helping you breathe easily so that it's easier to power your voice because your voice is powered through your breath? Are you breathing from your center? How present are you with who you're talking to, and are you able to receive and listen to what they're saying? Are you wanting to be heard? You know, that's a big part of things like mumbling, or we could start with looking at articulation exercises. But if nerves are making you feel a little bit like, ooh, I'm not even sure I want to be heard in the first place, then that would just be sticking a Band-Aid on the problem. What we really need to address is, how can we help you be more comfortable with the act of communicating so that you want to be heard? So even though my title is voice coach, I really approach this from a holistic perspective of mind, body, breath, and voice, because your voice is created in your body using your breath to express your thoughts, because all of these things are related and can be worked with together, which will help achieve more long-lasting results. While I do have a specialism in working with the voice, I and a lot of other voice coaches also do broader training like public speaking training, presenting training, accent training, acting training, breathing coaching, because all of these things have to do with communication. So I work with anybody who wants to be a more empowered and effective communicator in all of these particular areas of scope. And you'll find that a lot of voice coaches do as well. The kinds of clients a voice coach works with tend to be anybody who uses their voice in a public or even private capacity. So that it could include business professionals, TV presenters, radio presenters, actors, teachers, activists, trans women, anyone really who wants to feel like they're very empowered in their professional and personal communication might seek out voice training. So this is a really great question that I'm really glad somebody asked. I hope that gives you a good idea of what a voice coach is and what a voice coach does, because it's so much more than voice coaching in a lot of ways. Or let me put it this way, it's so much more than just working with the spoken voice. Even though that is a very valuable and important skill set, a voice coach really can look at the bigger picture of how you can be the best communicator that you want to be, the most empowered and effective and authentic communicator that you want to be. So if this has whetted your appetite and you're interested in booking a session, hey, feel free to be in touch. You can email me at Christine@voicewhatmatters.com. There are also a ton of other voice coaches out there, so if you feel like I'm not the right fit for you, I'm always happy to recommend somebody as well. Thank you for the question. Please keep them coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye.